Recently, on my video, Was Muhammad a False Prophet?, I received this comment. It wouldn't be the first time a messenger of God was called crazy. Realizing how many first times Muhammad had, I replied, that's a great video topic. So to narrow things down a bit, we'll compare Muhammad with prophets in the Abrahamic tradition and see how many first times he had. Number 1, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet is explicitly said to have slept with a 9-year-old girl. Authentic Muslim sources say over and over that Muhammad consummated his marriage with Aisha when she was 9 years old. When the time was right, at least for him, she was playing on a swing set. Fortunately, she was able to take her dolls with her to Muhammad's house. Ibn Kathir, who apparently did not foresee the embarrassment of modern Muslim apologists, said her age is not disputed by anyone. How things have changed. It's interesting to note that Muslims who try to deny that Aisha was 9 when Muhammad had sex with her ignore the fact that Surah 65:4 allows sex with prepubescent girls, according to Muslim scholar after Muslim scholar after Muslim scholar. Free tip: don't deny something your prophet did out of embarrassment if that same thing is permitted in your Quran. And of course, Muslims who love to use what I call the "hey, look over there" technique will say, yeah, but Rebecca was 3 years old when Isaac married her. Unfortunately for them, I've already shot that polemic down in a burning heap, posthumously dismembered it, and scattered the ashes to the wind. Not even Allah could revive that polemic on Resurrection Day with the magical water that gets poured over Muslims who get burned to a crisp after crossing the bridge over hell, so don't even try. Number 2, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet employed child labor when he would get his extraordinarily young bride to scrape semen off of his clothes. What more can I say? Let's move on to some adult topics. Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet endorsed the breastfeeding of adult men to relieve sexual tension. The prophet said, "Breastfeed him," referring to an adult man. A woman reasonably replied, "How can I breastfeed him when he is a grown man?" The messenger of Allah smiled and said, "I know he is a grown man." Look back through history and think to yourself how much better things would have been if adult men would have been breastfed. Actually, you don't have to. On your screen, I have an exhaustive list of every single time throughout history adult breastfeeding could have contributed positively to relieving inappropriate sexual tension, as Muhammad required. Number 4, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet said the sun sets in a warm or muddy spring. This is described in both the Quran and the Hadith. Abraham, Moses, David, all the rest of them, they failed to observe and report this very simple fact. Imagine how much better the Bible would be with the wisdom of Muhammad. The mighty one, God the Lord, speaks and summons the earth from the rising of the sun, from a muddy pool, to its setting in a muddy pool. Or there's Psalm 74, yours is the day, yours also the night. You have established the heavenly lights and the sun, which sets in muddy water. And finally, you shall give him, referring to a hired worker, his wages on the same day before the sun sets in a warm spring. Okay, you want more. How about the untold story of Abraham in Genesis 15? As the sun was going down into a muddy pool of water, a deep sleep fell on Abram, and behold, dreadful and great darkness fell upon him, because the spring was very muddy. When was this sunset spring created? It's right there in Genesis 1. And God said, "Let the waters swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let there be warm waters for the sun to set in." And finally, an extra biblical example. The sun never sets on the Roman Empire because it sets in a muddy spring. I could do this all day. Number 5, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet heard the music of Satan while receiving his revelations from God. Allah's messenger said, "The bell is the musical instrument of Satan." Allah's messenger also said, "The revelation comes to him like the ringing of a bell." And now I've forgotten what I'm supposed to say next. Oh yeah. Number 6, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet tempted his followers with the voluptuous women of paradise who are guaranteed virgins. Can you believe the nerve of a God who kept all of this from all of his other prophets for so many years? Number 7, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet informed us that some babies are created for hell. So some women are created to be perpetually deflowered in paradise, while some babies are created for hell. The internal logic of all of this is very internal and very logical. Number 8, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet commanded his followers to participate in a pagan ritual that includes kissing a rock. Why kiss a rock? One of Muhammad's companions provides an answer to this question while he's talking to the rock. So let's listen in on that conversation. Umar came near the black stone and kissed it and said, "No doubt, I know that you are a stone and can neither benefit anyone nor harm anyone. Had I not seen Allah's messenger kissing you, I would not have kissed you." You may ask if all of this, which looks a lot like idolatry, makes sense in a religion that claims to be purely monotheistic. Of course it makes sense. But how does it make sense, you ask? Number 9, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet had drinkable blood and urine. You can pause the video and read that report if you like. Just remember the key takeaway. If you drink Muhammad's urine, then you won't get a stomach ache again, which makes me realize how much I really don't mind having a stomach ache. Number 10, Muhammad is the first time a supposedly Abrahamic prophet would have been executed by another Abrahamic prophet for reciting Satan's revelation. Muhammad said he had obeyed Satan and spoken his words, making Satan a partner in God's matter with him. Shahab Ahmed's study showed that the Satanic Verses incident was a standard historical element in early Muslim history. Of course, even more so than Aisha's age, this part of Muhammad's life has become deeply unpopular in recent decades. In Deuteronomy 18, Moses recalls God's words, "But the prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name that I have not commanded him to speak, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that same prophet shall die." According to this verse, claiming to be a prophet of God while being tricked into speaking the words of Satan could be problematic if you prefer to avoid appointments with the executioner. I know what you're thinking. This video could have had a lot more first times, and I agree. But I'll leave it to you to add more in the comments. As you post them, I will add them to the pinned comment periodically, and we can see how long the list gets. So thanks for watching and commenting, and I'll see you next time.